Good morning, everyone. First of all, pranam to each one of you and namaste, namaskaram. The reason I'm doing this is when you traverse the globe and you realize we are turning digital and we need to be seeing ourselves in the cyberspace, in the digital map, and what is it that actually reflects us there is our culture, our language, and how we accept technology in our lives. So it's very important that while we get into science and technology, we do not forget the roots from where we have all started. And it's very important for us because, like it or not, it's easy to adopt, but it's very difficult to completely change our DNAs, and our DNAs are all very Indian, and therefore I nowadays request everyone to remember where from we have come and what are our cultural ethos, and bring that to the context in which we are contributing. So a start for that. So I come from the Ministry of Electronics Information Technology. What I really wanted to share and use this platform, a little digression from the discussion of data and data security, data collection, and how we analyze data, is when the government of India is looking at, bringing in R&D, research and technology, we are trying to see if this kind of an approach would allow us to really be able to bring all stakeholders on board and address the issues. My previous keynote speakers have very rightly mentioned that India needs to impact on standards. India needs to also impact on technology creation. So when we are looking at the discussions that we've heard till now, it was data being used top-down. We were only looking at the data classification in terms of its use cases, how it will get used for analysis, for making decisions, for giving reports for decision making. But what's really important is when we look at taxonomy of data, are we really looking into data? What comprises of data? I know one of my previous speakers did mention. But if we break down data and data packets beyond metadata, can we really look at another analysis of what data really would mean? So just to come back to the slide, the intent for us is today you see 10 domain verticals. What has been done by my team in MeitY is to identify those critical technologies that is important for nation building, and to look at security in these particular domains. What you see in vertical are the areas where we are engaging with different stakeholders, academia, R&D institutions, but a lot of startups and a lot of industry people, and a lot of user agencies who are specifying their challenges. The problem statements are being collected from them. Also, we have seen success in finding solutions for some of the roadmaps, technology roadmaps that we are trying to create for each of these vertical and horizontal domains. The horizontal ones are the ones that would cut across and would be required for each of these vertical domains. Today you see 10 domains which are vertical, but we've added about 4 more to this. So this is growing. And very soon, we hope to be able to share a well-defined roadmap with the contribution and participation of all of you sitting across here, and many more who are not here today. So just to bring a fact that we are in the government looking at not just innovation and not just research for technology. We are very focused on entrepreneurship, very focused on supporting startups. Innovation has become the key if India wants to have its own security approach. And therefore, the government is keen to engage much more with academia in partnership with R&D institutions and the startups and industry, of course. So The last is the education and skilling. Basically, what's important is we are able to instill in our academia what is really important when we talk about education. What would it really mean for you to learn a certain subject or a topic or learn the mathematical modeling? To what end? It's very important to give them a goal, to give them a problem statement to solve so that their learning is directional, is always result-oriented. And if we talk about the business language, the ROI to them for their time, for their energy, and for their skills of analysis and synthesis, we really need to give them a goal for that. So this was just a quick intro to what we were trying to do at MeitY, and what we are really trying to do and have been successful is to have, not just enhancing these research capabilities by going to tier 2, tier 3 colleges, partner colleges of the premier institutions have come up to us. We are fortunate that we are connecting with many of these researchers who are now coming onto the national fore, who in their way have contributed to some very innovative technology solutions which are now in the industry. At the span that you see for this is only last 3 years. So what we have been able to do is to now connect in a much better way, in a more engaging way, and get a better outcome for the nation as a whole. We have several cybersecurity products now. We have funded a center of excellence, which is the National Center of Excellence with the Data Security Council of India. Currently, it is situated at Noida. But the intent is to now expand that initiative further to help out getting more and more startups into the fore. And now, while we have about 300 startups that have come out in a span of about 4 years now with this project, but we are now expanding, reaching out and establishing another version of the Center of Excellence, but we'll call it a clearinghouse. The intent is to then also establish a center where we'll be able to not just examine the efficacy of the research work, whether it can go to the market, and it would have a plethora of these sandboxes, black boxes, white boxes, emulators, simulators. But in addition to that, we're talking about sitting together with expert groups, interest groups, to also look at standards. In addition to that, what we're expecting is to get a feedback from the user agencies and the markets to fine-tune our research work into a product for not just the niche Indian market, but also for the global uptake. And this, what we intend to do is to create a cycle between research, market, feedback, and this is going to be a continuous process. So the intent is to identify institutions where we could house this, and the reason I speak it from the altar of this platform is, to me and to many of us in the government, we feel that Indian Institute of Science could be one of those centers where we could examine establishing a similar institution, a similar clearinghouse, or we can call it that, or we can give it a new name and get in people, all the stakeholders, to be able to easily have open conversations for research that we need to uptake. I needn't read all of this, but what the success is, the tools that have come out of the research that has been funded by us are being used by the Computer Emergency Response Team of India and many other such agencies of cybersecurity agencies are the beneficiaries of the work that we are conducting. So a slight digression from there, but then yes, I just wanted to use this opportunity to convey to you all that there is a possibility of sitting across with many government officials and being able to bring forth your ideas to germination. So we've had a lot of discussion on the data protection and the DPDP Act. And what I really wanted to highlight with this one slide was, the data protection is being approached by different economies in different ways. To each one, it has a different impact, and therefore you will see that, in the US, you have very focused, separate frameworks that have been provided, that have been, executed by by the state. So USA has COPPA, HIPAA, FISMA, and all of that. I did mention Angola too, but then if you look at China, it is focused on a personal information protection law, and Israel too has a similar one. So we are in alignment with many of these countries, but our DPDP Act is going a little beyond. We have talked about this applicable beyond our country. It is now, the same is applicable to the data protection, even if it is in third party outside of the country. There is a defined role for the significant data fiduciaries, and on the basis of the sensitivity and the volume of data, personal data that is being collected, this decision will be made, and we already know that we'll have a lot of rules coming out. The data protection rules will be out very soon. Can't really even project whether it's going to be next week or beyond, so I'm sorry for that. The last point is important, because we are talking about empowering citizens with data, with complete power over their information, how, when, and how much to be used, when it can be retracted. Now, saying all of this was very easy. However, when we look at ground implementation, it is not really easy for the government to be able to say, we will be able to completely take care of the data protection just through the DPDP Act. So at the ground level, we really would need to understand how to use technology solutions for bringing in the compliance for the DPDP Act. So here comes the discussion on the data. So according to the European data strategy, we have about 175 zettabytes that will be generated by 2025. And like already mentioned by Sharji, it'll have useful data and not so useful data. So because we do not have a classification or mode of a global acceptance of what would be classified as good usable data and what would be classified as junk data. Because even the junk data to many is actually a business proposition, because based on the consumption of the junk is how more junk is created. And therefore, you'll have to accept this with a pinch of salt, that it is totally how we accept a certain service, certain information, and use it, or completely reject it, and that too visibly, for that not to come back to us. So it's very important that we understand that with the digitalization and commodification of the data, which is the backbone for the digital economies of the world today, we really need to address the issue of lack of trust between the economic operators, that the data will be used in line with contractual agreements, imbalances in negotiating power, and the fear of the misappropriation of the data by the third party which will be using it, and a little lack of legal clarity on who can do what with the data. The issue is data itself, the classification between personal information and public information is there for a very small content. So maybe your health records is clearly defined, but when you go across different platforms where you're sharing your data for services, this demarcation between personal and public is very easy to break with technology solutions that we'll be seeing very soon. So what is important is there has to be an interdisciplinary play. Yeah, we'll have to have a interdisciplinary play between the law and the technology. And that brings me to the discussion of, the data security. Of course, I had a full detail on how we'll have to look at the challenges that will need to be addressed for in looking at the data, use, data collation, data analysis, and further on. But in the interest of time, what I will do is to just simply state that what is required is we talk about taking the initial work of data exchanges that are now being developed at our by this team. What we really need to do is to extrapolate this work of developing privacy-preserving data exchanges to calling them as data marketplaces. The reason the minute we start talking about data marketplaces, we will completely change the way we are looking at data sharing, looking at data storing, and data analysis. So this is something that is important that I would like to put forth. And also, these data marketplaces can then be defined with the end use cases that they have. So it's very important that we understand where we are going. And last but not the least, while we are seeing a lot of research work going on, what's important is, is that we have created a roadmap for the data security, and the intent is to see if we could have targeted development in these specific areas that we have currently thought so. But this is a draft roadmap, and we'll be happy to hear from you all on as to what are the possible aspects and areas that we may have missed and you would like to cover. So the one small issue is we are looking at homomorphic encryption, secure multi-party computation, and we are looking at these as possible solutions, and federated learning. These are three most celebrated technologies that we are exploring for data security or a data exchange, secure data exchange. However, what is important is to understand whether these are scalable or not. If we are talking about a national data exchange, the scalability is the issue that we may have to further research on. And I do not want to take more time, but then we are talking about a cooperation, a global cooperation. And we are also talking about bringing in the last mile people, the people who are data creators, building in an awareness of how really important the data is. And so this is the last slide. I think, yeah. Thank you so much for giving me this time.